In this video, you'll learn what the Edge is and how Edge Functions can help you get content to your users faster. So what is the Edge? Now, generally, when you go to a website, that site might be hosted on the other side of the world. Depending on where you are, it may take longer to load for you. Now, the Edge is a network of servers around the world that automatically detects where your user is located and serves content to them from the closest server. The CEO of Netlify, Biilmann, says that they are building an open source runtime for the Edge, poised to be an industry standard that is not proprietary to Netlify.
A runtime layer at the edge. Think about like this decoupled web layer, streaming rendering layer, running across a global edge network, and open runtime for the edge. That's not Netlify specific.
The Netlify Edge functions allow you to run serverless JavaScript or TypeScript functions directly on their Edge network. Now, the key here is Deno. Deno is a secure by default runtime that enables out-of-the-box compatibility with many web frameworks. Now, this is one of the first large-scale production applications of Deno that I've personally seen. Netlify Edge functions don't require a framework, but they do work with Astro, Eleventy, Hydrogen, Next.js, Nuxt, Remix, SvelteKit, and many others. You can even stream and render an entire site from the Edge. The bottom line is you get content to your users faster. What can you do with Edge functions? Well, here are some use cases. Streaming Edge rendering, React server components, content rewrites, user redirects, A/B testing, OAuth authentication, geolocation, localization and globalization, and much more. So let's write an Edge function and see it in action. We just need two files. We'll create a file folder structure called netlify/edge-functions, and then the file hello.js. We're going to create a very simple Edge function that is just going to respond with hello world. Next, we'll create another file in the root of our directory called netlify.toml. In here, we'll define an Edge function. We need to tell it which path we'll call this function. So in testing, it will be at localhost/test. If this was deployed, this would be our .com/test. And then the name of the function. Our function we called hello. Hello comes from the name of our hello.js file. To run our Edge functions locally, we'll need the Netlify CLI. So let's open up our terminal. And if you don't already have it installed, or if you want to make sure you have the latest version, you can run npm install netlify-cli and then -g to install it globally. Now, to run our code, we can type netlify dev. It's going to ask us if we would like to configure Edge functions in VS Code. So we're going to say yes. And then it's going to have us verify that we want to create this file. We'll say yes. And now our Edge function is going to run on localhost port 8888. And here is our localhost. So port 8888. Nothing is found here, and that is because our Edge function is only going to work on the /test path. So let's append to the end of this /test, and now we get hello world. We can also see in our terminal here that the Edge function hello has been loaded. Adding an Edge function to a Next.js application is just as simple. I've created a fresh Next.js app, and we just need to add the same two files that we did in the previous example. So I have the same hello.js file that is just responding with hello world. And then I have also the Netlify toml file, which is going to go at the /test path. So again, we can open up our terminal and we'll run netlify dev. And then it's going to ask again that we want to add this configuration file for VS Code. We're going to say yes, and we're going to say yes again. And now it's starting up our next app on localhost 8888. And we can see we have our standard Next.js app here. But if we go again to the /test path, we're going to get our hello world response. Well, how about some relevant use cases? What is it really capable of? Let's go back to our bare bones example and we'll modify it. We can use Edge functions for geolocation. So let's modify the hello.js file. Let's make this function async, and we're going to have our request and our context. Now, instead of returning a new response here, we're going to get our geolocation, and we can get that from our context. So we're going to return our context. We can use context.json to return JSON. And in here, we're going to return our geo data. So we'll say geo, and that's going to equal context.geo. And then within geo, we can actually go dig a little bit deeper. We can get our country and our name. So let's save this and then let's run it. We'll run netlify dev again, and we'll refresh our page here. And now we're going to get our geolocation. But now that we have this information, what can we do with it? Well, we can serve localized content. Let's go back and change our Edge function. I'm going to create this translations object that's going to say hello in different ways. If our geolocation is unknown, it'll say hello. If we're from the US, it'll say howdy y'all. From Great Britain, it will say how do you do? And for Australia, good day, mate. Next, we'll set our country code. We'll say context.geo, and we'll use optional chaining so that in case there's not a country or not a code, then it will just go to a default to unknown. So we're trying to get our country code for the country code, and then we'll also get our country name in the same method. And if for some reason the name is undefined, it'll just say somewhere in the world. Next, we're going to return a new response, and it's going to state your personalized greetings for, and then put in our country name is, and then it will add in our translations based on our country code, which would be US, Great Britain, Australia, or unknown. And then lastly, we'll pass in some headers. We're going to let it know that this is going to be text/HTML. So let's save that. And we still have it running in our terminal, so it's automatically reloaded. Let's go over to our browser and let's refresh this page. And now it says your personalized greetings for United States is howdy y'all. So that's pretty neat, but what else can we do? Well, we can set, read, and delete cookies. And here's an example. So in here, we're going to use context again, and we're going to use our cookies.set to set a cookie called myCookie, and the value is going to be hello. We could use the same method as a .get or .delete to get or delete a cookie. So let's save this, and let's go back into our browser, and I'm going to open up the DevTools. And notice here, before I refresh it, that localhost 888, there are no cookies. Let's go ahead and refresh. And now there's a cookie called myCookie, and the value is hello. And we can also perform A/B testing on our website. Maybe you're testing a new design or some copy on your site, and you want to compare the stats. So for this, we're going to use cookies again. We're going to call this cookie test bucket. And then for a bucket, we're going to say context.cookies.get, and then we're going to get our test bucket. Now, if we have a bucket, then we're going to return a new response and go ahead and say that our bucket name bucket already is assigned. If we don't have a bucket already, we're going to define a weight. So we're going to say this is a 50-50 chance because we're going to do an A/B test. And then we're going to get a random number between 0 and 1. And then we're going to decide if our user is going to be in the A bucket or the B bucket based on this random number. So then we're going to set our cookie. We're going to give it a name, which is the test bucket. And then we're going to give it a value, which is going to be either A or B. After that, we'll return our new response, and it'll say you have been assigned to bucket name, bucket value. So let's save this and let's see it in action. Let's go back to our browser and notice that there are no cookies right now. Let's go ahead and refresh. And now we can see our test bucket, and we've been assigned to bucket B. So we can see that in our cookie, as well as over here on our website that we have been assigned to bucket B. Now, if I refresh, you'll notice that we are already assigned because we already have this cookie. So if I delete this cookie and I refresh, now I'm assigned to bucket A. It's a 50-50 chance. The last thing that I want to show you is fetching data from an edge function. That's right, you can fetch from an edge function depending on whatever logic that you want to implement. I have a MongoDB database that has some corny programming dad jokes. I can grab a random joke from this database without even using a driver if I use the MongoDB Atlas Data API. In Atlas, I'll enable the Data API, create an API key, and now I can just query an HTTP endpoint to get a random joke. So back in VS Code, let's get this set up. First, we're going to add a .env file to the root of our directory. In here, we're going to define a Data API key. We're going to make that equal to the API key that we just created. I'm going to paste that in here. Of course, you'll need to get your own API key. I'm going to delete this one after I record this video. We can save that file and close it. Now in our edge functions, we're going to define our endpoint. You'll also need your base URL, which you can get from the Data API page in Atlas. So I'm going to create this const called endpoint and paste in my endpoint. From this endpoint, we can specify several different endpoints. We have find one, insert many, update many, replace one, delete many, and aggregate. So in this example, we're going to use the aggregate endpoint. So I'm going to add to my base URL action/aggregate. Since Deno has native support for fetch, we can just use it. So here we're going to fetch from our endpoint, and then we'll add in our options. So first, our method is going to be post. And then we'll have some headers. We're going to set our content type to application JSON. We're going to set our access control request headers to star. And then we're going to include our API key. And we can get our API key from our .env file natively in Deno too. We can use deno.env.get and then use the name of the variable that we created. Now in our body, we're going to json.stringify our query to MongoDB. Now in here, we need to tell it what our data source is. For mine, that is cluster 0, and then tell it which database. Mine is programming, and then which collection. Mine is dad jokes. And then we're going to also add in a pipeline for our aggregation pipeline. We're just going to use a single stage in our aggregation pipeline, and we're going to get a random sample of one document using the $sample operator. Within that, we're going to define the size of our sample. We're going to set that to 1. This is a nice trick to return just one random document from a collection. All right, so now we're going to create a const of JSON data where we're going to await joke.json. And once we get that JSON data, we're going to use context.json to return this JSON data. All right, so let's see it in action. We'll save this. And again, I still have it running in the console. It's automatically reloaded. Let's go over to our browser. Let's refresh the page. And we're going to get an error because I actually forgot that we need to restart the server since we added a .env file. Let's go back into VS Code. Let's stop the server, Control C. Let's run it again, Netlify dev. And now it's going to incorporate our environmental variable. And then if we go to /test, we should see a random joke. There we go. The joke is, I'm starting a band called HTML Encoder. And the answer is looking to buy a guitar and amp. Let's refresh and get another one. All right, so here is the joke, hip hip. And the answer is hip hip array. Pretty cool, right? Okay, edge functions are really cool. Let me know what you think. And I'm excited to see what use cases you'll come up with. If you come up with something really cool, ping me on Twitter. Let me know. I want to see an example. A lot of these examples are based on the Netlify Edge Functions examples, which you can find linked in the description below to learn more about them. If this video was helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more content like this.